2, 1. No! Yeah! Come on! No! Game over! How you like them apples?
Guys, it's gonna be me.
It's gonna be me.
It's gonna be
It's
me.
definitely not Adam.
It's gonna be me.
I made mine way too big. We're gonna need more pancake batter.
Well, why don't you just take your time?
Hold on. Oh gosh, it's leaking out the side. I was doing so good.
You're killing my pancakes!
Help me! Man, hers is good. Hey!
I don't even know if
Oh gosh! You can do it. Mine's obviously better because it's big.
the waviness. This is like an egg.
You got a better. Dude, look at
Honestly, that's not too bad.
That is the scariest monster I've ever seen.
Okay. And all you do is
Gotta use your.
wait, there were ghosts?
Just put your hands in.
Should I take my watch off?
Well, yes. Depends on if you want to break
Yes.
your watch.
Oh gosh. What the heck? Is Brandon's hair?
Hey fans. I despise you.
There's water. What is? Ew, it's slimy. What is this?
Plated latex glove.
Why are you trying to hold his hand?
Oh, I was gonna try to put my hat on over it, but I don't think that's gonna work.
Oh, dude, no! No, are you serious? These hands are shaking. Look at that.
No, they're gonna ask you later. Oh my gosh.
Oh, look at that. Oh, gosh. Oh. Oh, that's gross. No.
Your least favorite student.
I'm sorry, Joshua.
No. Josh, you.
It's actually not them.
Down there on my feet.
Okay, everybody.
That feels better.
But most importantly, I've been doing a lot of thinking. I don't do that a lot. What? But I did tonight.
Dude, this is gonna be good.
I would date the color red. Well, there you have it.
What is up, everybody? We are live. We're live on the internet for the first. Oh my goodness, that's so bright. And speaking of, can you? Now they're everywhere.
Not bright enough.
50%. 50%. Where are we at?
Love that. Awesome. Well, we are so excited for United Night Online 2.0. I did a 5. I said but I did a 5. So we're killing it so far. Yeah. But why don't we just go down the line? For those of you who don't know me, my name is Jeff. I am the youth pastor at Revision Church. Can we hear it? I heard it. They're out there. Are you guys in the chat? Yeah, they're out there. So I'm Jeff. I'm kind of hosting, just kind of directing questions and stuff tonight, answering. I don't know. We're just gonna have fun. But who's this guy?
I'm Thomas. I don't have a title. I don't know.
He's the Triviatron.
Sure.
Those of you who may know him from yesterday, Triviatron. Adam, who are you?
Hi.
These transitions are killer.
Oh, look, I do have a title. Look, my name's up there. Adam
Youth
Evans,
pastor.
youth pastor of the Mission Church. Welcome. Good to see you all.
I heard him.
Oh, she has them.
Oh, I have one.
You guys, we're really bad at this.
This is awesome. All right, next in the line.
Right, I'm Amy Pruitt, and I'm the Associate Youth Pastor at Simple Church.
Nice.
And I'm not funny, so.
You're hilarious.
That's a part of her official job description. Not
Can't
funny.
be funny.
Associate youth
Don't
pastor.
do it.
And speaking of that, I'm Brandon. I'm the youth pastor at Simple Church. Wow.
One of the. Wow.
Really?
Didn't your wife just say she was a youth pastor?
It's like those football players that the
Ohio State
University.
No, I'm just a youth pastor from Simple Church, and apparently I'm not funny either.
Woo! Amen. I'm just kidding.
What's going on, friends? My name is Caleb. I work as the Student Ministry Associate Director for Westwind Church. And if we got any Westwind students out there, then just do me a favor and scream in the chat, "Booyah!"
Real loud. I heard it.
Wait.
There it was.
There it
Yep,
is.
I heard
We
it.
heard it.
And
We
not
heard
to
it.
be left out, even though he is not on camera, Josiah is the one running this, not only running this whole thing, but he basically just set everything up that allows us to be seen by you tonight. And so big shout out to Josiah for switching, running camera, setting all of the microphones up, and just to see if he's paying attention, I'm going to see if he can follow me back. Come on, where you at? Where you at? See, gosh, you're so good at this. This is why we have you, Josiah. So thank you for being here.
Josiah is
Thank you
awesome.
for doing this. Now, while people are still gathering with us today, we thought we'd just start off with a little game. Most of tonight's going to be dedicated to answering your questions. And so there's a couple of ways you can do that. You can either send in questions right on the YouTube chat, or right now, I don't know if you can put this over me, there's an online website. There we go. It is slido.com, and you just enter the code 94773, and that will hook you up to a chat where you can ask questions anonymously. You can also play the game that we are about to play now. And so if you pull out your phone, go to slido.com, put in that room code, and that is going to hook you up to us. We're also going to be playing this game because we want to win. And why do we want to win? Because there's a $10 Amazon prize for each round.
I don't want to win.
All right.
I am going to win.
Oh, Adam doesn't want to win. He's going to win. All right. And so the game that we're playing today is called the Emoji Hunt Challenge. Brandon, do you want to explain a few? Not a few. Why don't you just go ahead and do all of the rules for us? So that
All of the rules.
yeah.
All of the rules.
How does this game played?
Well, let me tell you what we're about to play and what you have the chance to win. Yeah, so we're going to play Emoji Hunt Challenge, as you so greatly introed us into, Jeff. And how this game is going to work is there's going to be a bar that Josiah's going to throw up on the lower part of the screen for us that's going to have a series of emojis.
Just random emojis.
Somewhere right here.
Within
Yeah,
you-
somewhere right there. So those are going to be thrown up down there, and once those go on the screen, oh, look, there it is. Once those end up on the screen, you are going to race to get all of those sent into that Slido chat.
And
where
for
we're
those
submitting our
of you
questions.
who think like you're super tricky, like I can see some of the emojis, they randomly generate. So
Yeah.
it's going to change. It's going to go.
It's
Yeah,
gonna go to a
we
new one.
thought of that.
Everything.
Cheater.
We think of everything. So anyway, so those are going to pop up on the screen, and you're going to do as fast as you can. Get those emojis sent to us. The first one to send it in will get a $10 worth of Amazon cash.
It's pretty sweet. And we are going into the depths of emojis. This isn't just smiley face, frowny face. We're going
it's gonna
deep.
be.
Quick question.
You're
quick
going to have
question.
to earn this cash, guys.
What do you got?
What's an emoji?
Okay, so what we're doing, we are playing the Emoji Hunt Challenge. Get your phones ready. First one in, I'll be able to see who sends it in first, wins $10 gift card. Let's play the game. Boom, boom. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
That's my
Got
jam.
carried away. All right, why don't we just roll it?
First challenge. What is
Okay,
that?
well, I don't even know what the first one is.
Jeff, do you want to?
Swiss
Explain
flag,
those.
blowing nose, fist, bird, satellite,
It's like in there.
alphabet, A, B, C, D, and could not. I can't see that from here. I'm not really sure what that is.
I don't know how to get that. I don't know how to get that.
Hold on, there's something with a doctor.
That looks like the food that you would get in school. The little like.
Oh yeah, is that
trays.
just a lunch tray of bad
He
chicken
has
pot
tissue.
pies?
He's throwing into combat.
Dude, I have no idea where.
They just make the entire plate out of airline food.
Well,
Uh,
and thank you, Adam. Stand up.
okay.
Man, everybody must be having.
Did you find
I
it?
don't even know. Oh, it's just a bunch of different sushis and fishes.
Where is that?
You guys are falling behind.
I'm not winning this.
Let's see.
I'm still working.
gonna do that one.
I don't want to win. I will win.
I Yahoo'd answered
not started
the what is an emoji.
Okay. What did it? Did you learn any new information?
Well, I'm still connecting to my AOL Instant Messenger, so hopefully here pretty soon I'll have something.
Yeah.
Bert, remember that the emojis do look different on, Android and iOS. So just get as close as you can.
Yeah.
As close as you can.
As close as you can, but if they're not exact, you're gonna lose.
Well, yeah. You can't sub a sneezing face for
What
an
is that?
angry face. That's not gonna work.
Some people do look
It's gotta
really
be a
angry when they
spaceship.
sneeze,
What
though.
is that? It's a satellite. Oh, I found it.
You found it?
All right, we got.
I'm the
Let
greatest
me
at this game.
double check here.
Do y'all remember when we were in
That last one doesn't look quite right.
I know what's
sushi?
What?
Are those
Is that
turtle
sushi?
shells?
can't see here.
It's a sushi box, or it's a
I'm going.
bento box. Boom.
Did I beat you?
A bento box.
Whoever look I won is the champion of round one. So $10 gift card coming to you, which is super exciting. But we have more than one round.
That one guy put on there a Band-Aid instead of a satellite.
Okay, that's
Close. Both vitally important
This
technology
close. Yes.
to our existence, but
satellite.
Not quite.
What kind of? Hopefully, it's like the nice flexy Band-Aid that don't come off after 2 seconds of putting them on. Anyways, why don't we just roll the next challenge? You thought
And this
you,
is we're doing one more, right?
yeah,
Only
last
we're
one.
doing 2 rounds of this.
and then we're getting right into your
I'm winning
questions.
this time.
okay, guys, I now know
Okay.
what an emoji is, so I'm ready to
A
go.
pretty distinct advantage on this round, Adam.
Similar to this, but you had to use the.
Wait, is
analog
that
pad.
that's like the exact same thing? Josiah, reroll that.
There it
There we
is,
go.
round
Jeff,
2.
I want you to go through and explain each of these emojis and what they mean to
Well,
you.
emoji number 1 is clearly the van that I drove here in. And then next up, we have some sort of
Fish? It's a fish. The third
What is
one.
wrong with you?
What do you got? What are we talking about here? Oh, you mean got it?
Not your favorite emoji.
Popcorn.
But-
It's a old-fashioned football / rugby ball. Can't really tell from here. Don't know what the third one is. A trolley. It's a tram or a trolley.
It looks
followed
like a trolley
by
to me.
a
That-
controller
that
of
last one
sorts,
is just a
a
picture of me.
backpack.
What is that?
How'd you guys get a picture of me lifting weights?
It looks like he's just lifting the bar, so that really could be Jeff.
Hey, that's true. That's about all I got to work with. Just a dancing lady and a picture of
That looks
Brandon.
more like Jeff.
What?
What?
Stop it.
Stop it. Oh, the clown. The clown emoji is what we have here. And
What do you think you'd type in for that one dude? Would it be working out?
I don't know, but Look I Won is really good at this game. Look I Won coming in clutch, 2 rounds in a row. You
Should I
win
even- you know
both
what?
of those gift cards. So congratulations to Look I Won. You guys can stop trying because you already lost. And no,
I want to.
literally, I just announced the winner. So the more emojis you put
Guys,
in,
I found the popcorn.
It's not about Jeff. It's not about winning. It's about reaching the finish line.
all right, cool. Well, while Brandon is reaching the finish line, we're going to answer some of your questions. And so if you haven't already, we've been gathering questions all day today on our Instagram pages. And also, you can submit them anonymously through Slido or just send them in on the YouTube chat. And we're going to answer as many of your questions as we can tonight. And so let's head into some of your guys' questions.
All right, fam, TikTok time. Jump, jump, and jump. Yeah, drive the horse. I'm riding that horse. Jump, jump, jumping again. That's repetitive. Okay, ride the horse. Okay, same thing. Jump, jump, and jump. I'm a little tired now. Okay. Oh, this is good. I need a little break. And pose. Side and hands coming down. Little booty shake. And we're done. Yeah.
Man, what a transition. What do you...
That was
That was a TikTok, right?
That was a TikTok.
You taught me about TikToks.
Yes, Jeff. You
on the
handled
last
that,
U-NITE.
You handled that really well. Yeah.
I handled that.
Yeah.
That looked like a lot of Brandon up there for me to be handling it.
Wearing the exact same thing I was wearing.
You are. Really quick. I'm going to go blue ice cream flavor strawberry.
Oh yeah, you're.
Movie is What About Bob? It's a 1980s classic. It's a fun one. Thomas?
My favorite color is probably yellow. My favorite ice cream flavor, I'm going to say cookies and cream, but please never hold me to that because it might change tomorrow or later today.
Well, I think we have to hold you to it because you just said it.
Okay, well, I'll be exiting now. My favorite movie is Spider-Man 2 from 2004.
Oh, okay.
Directed by Sam Raimi.
Nice.
I hate the movie question. There's so many stinking movies.
Oh, skip it.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool. What are the other ones?
Color
Okay.
and ice cream. Oh, dear.
Red.
Oh,
Red.
dear.
But that's not my favorite color. My favorite color is navy blue, mainly because I like navy blue better than other blues, but also Jeff said blue, so I wanted to be different than Jeff because I don't want to seem like I'm following Jeff everywhere.
I get that.
Yeah,
You do follow me around a little too much for comfort, if I'm being honest.
Hey, Jeff, who's that behind you? Oh, it's just
It's just Adam. He does this a whole lot.
a whole lot. Favorite ice cream is, okay, this is kind of specific, okay? So a warm brownie on bottom.
This is so many.
Chocolate
so much thought.
ice cream with M&Ms on top.
Love it.
And then my favorite
Amy,
movie.
And moving on.
The movie question. Yeah, I got nothing.
Amy, how about you?
Well, my favorite color is green, and my favorite ice cream is specifically Ben & Jerry's Cherry Garcia. And one of my favorite movies would be Goonies. So, yeah.
Yes, Brandon.
My favorite color is sky blue.
Okay. We have to play it. It's blue. You like blue.
No. Seriously, my favorite color is sky blue. But Finley's, my daughter, says I wear a lot of white and black. So
It's true.
Yeah, maybe that's really
Your favorite color doesn't have to be the color that you wear all the time or look the best in.
Yeah, that's true. So sky blue. And then my favorite ice cream is peanut butter cookie core.
Seems a little thick for me, but
by it's Ben & Jerry's, right? Yeah, it's by Ben & Jerry's. It's by Ben & Jerry's. I actually haven't had it in a long time, but it's so good. You'd think it'd be like too much peanut butter, but it's like, it's right on point.
Caleb, why don't you round out this question with a few?
My favorite movie is The Avengers because it started the greatest it started the greatest movie cinematic universe of all time. All right,
Nerd.
go.
Wow. Well, my favorite color is also blue. I love the color blue. But
Thanks
I don't
for
know, is there
just
a color, like,
keeping
I
it
would say,
real.
like white, but like specifically, like I love the color of like clouds. That's my favorite experience of all time is just being in a
Just
plane
those
and looking
shades
at
of
the, like,
white and light gray and
just like
purplish.
the clouds in the sky is like my favorite thing when I go flying on a plane. Yeah, they're great. And yeah, that's not a color.
He's just
It can in my
playing by his own rules. I like it.
Yeah, my favorite ice cream.
I would have entered
Yeah.
sort of like
My,
trees or-
Yeah, I
favorite
like.
ice
What's your
cream
favorite color?
is
Trees.
Strawberry ice cream. But my favorite ice cream brand is Grater's ice cream. You should get it. You can only get it in like Ohio, but it's like they have massive
So I can't
chunks
get
it. Oh my-
of chocolate in their ice cream. It's like it's a heavenly experience.
Wow.
And yes. And then my favorite movie of all time is Hook with Robin Williams.
Hook, which we watched in our first
did
United
watch at our
Night
first Netflix
party,
yeah.
which was pretty cool. Oh my gosh, it was incredible.
Boo.
I get it
Because we watched The Incredibles last night. Incredibles 2. All right, let's move into a different.
And that was incredible as well.
Nice. What we're doing now, we have another question that was submitted this afternoon on Instagram, and it is, how do you deal with friends who are changing? And I know that's kind of like it's a pretty like blanket. It's hard to know the specifics of what this question is being asked about, but I feel like we can get a good direction and answer to this one. How do you deal with friends who are changing?
When I think of this question, my guess is that it's probably someone who, let's say you've been best friends with someone for a while, and if you grew up with that person, and all of a sudden maybe you're going into middle school, you're going into high school, they get new friends, and they start changing, their lifestyle starts changing, they're just becoming.
And I assume not changing for the better.
Probably,
With
yeah.
how this question
They're
is
probably
asked,
not
they're
changing for the
becoming
better.
great
Yeah, they're
people.
they're
That's
changing,
awesome now.
They're-
But yeah.
They're not changing for the better. That's what I'm assuming this person meant when they asked this question. I would say be consistent. That is whoa, what was that?
Dr. Pepper.
That was what it was. That was a Dr. Pepper. Anyways, my biggest advice would be if your friends are changing, be the consistent friend in their life. Because as you go through life, you're going to go through changes. You're going to go through different phases, for lack of better words. There's going to be things that you like or don't like, whatever, and it's going to be tempting to all of a sudden drift away and not be friends with that person, especially if the way that they're changing is a way that maybe have a negative influence on you. Maybe it's hurting your feelings. But if you want to be a positive influence in their life, the best thing you could do for them is be consistent. Be the friend that's going to stay with them, because you never know. They could be going through a hard time and not know how to express that. And you being the consistent friend in their life will be the one who will have the greatest impact on their life. So.
No, I think that's really good. Are there any other thoughts to add to that? I thought you did a really good job wrapping that one up, Caleb.
I think it's also important. Sorry, Brandon, I'm just going to cut you off because obviously what I have to say is more important. I think it's also really important. I tell our students here at the Mission Church all the time, I really only talk to like one person from my high school that I went to high school with. I think it's okay if sometimes friendships drift. It's just a part of life. Like you're not going to have the same friends now that you will even next year or especially 10 years down the road, because you're, as a teenager, still changing, still developing, still figuring out who you are as a person. And so your friends are going to change with that as you discover who you are and where you want to go and your goals in life.
Yeah, I think you might call it just a good case of the normals, something that we've all dealt with before. And I think that doesn't, I don't think you were saying, I don't want it to get misheard, that you're just saying like, so I don't really care about your friendships.
Oh, no, not at all.
That's not what you're saying at all. But the reality is that there's probably just a core few who will, I don't want to say stick it out, who will be your friends for the long haul. But there's other times where that just happens. But
yeah, and I would say be the friend that you want to have.
Yeah.
Don't just give up on friendships because they're going to change anyways. Because, like I said, the guy that I still talk to from high school, he's one of my best friends, and he will be for the rest of our lives. You know, so
and like Caleb was saying, just being that consistent person who you're going to be there for him. If you're worried about them changing, don't change. Be consistent, and you can be either that rock that they cling to, or maybe it creates some separation, and that's unfortunate. But I like what you said, Caleb. Just being consistent, and then Adam too.
You didn't like what I said.
I was getting there. Golly, just getting to the point that it's okay. Like there's not this need that we have to keep all of our friends forever, and it's just a good case of the normals. Moving on to the next question that came in today: is it okay to listen to music that doesn't curse, but is not Christian? But let's just broaden this question. What do you think about listening to music that isn't Christian music?
Secular is the word you're looking for.
Sure, I'm reading the question.
Okay.
But
It's just music. I guess where I come to with that is like even when you say Christian music, I don't know if you guys listen to NF. He's one of my favorite artists, but he at one point, big fan as well. But at one point he said like, I'm not a Christian artist. I'm an artist who is Christian. And so I think getting out of that mindset of what are we listening to, and not trying to title it as Christian or not, but really considering what are the lyrics speaking to us. Because what we allow into our minds and our hearts will be reflected in our actions and who we become. And so it's really important to consider what you're consuming. The best analogy I've heard of that is, our hearts are like a Netflix queue. If you keep watching action movies, for example, you'll start to see a lot of action movies in your queue. So if you start filling your heart and your mind with lyrics that speak one thing or are suggestive, then that's what is constantly going to be a desire of your heart. And so I think that's the biggest key to that. I think labeling it Christian or not, like, great if you want to listen to Christian music. If not, okay. But the bigger deal is what is it filling? What are you consuming? And how is that impacting you is what I would say to really consider.
No, that's good. And we actually had a different question come in that kind of maybe expands and is similar in what it's asking. But what about M-rated games? So it might be different, but I feel like it has similarities where it's asking from the same heart of like, can I play M-rated games? Can I listen to music that is secular? Is there anything to add in that respect?
In regards of should I watch this or should I not watch this? Should I do this or not this? Listen, whatever. I think the question we need to ask ourselves is, can I glorify God doing this? Listening to this, partaking in this? And if the answer is no, then you shouldn't do it. I know that's kind of vague, but I think that's because it can be different for different people. What's okay for Thomas to listen to may take me to a place that I shouldn't go and shouldn't be listening to that because it puts me in a different state of mind.
Oh,
and
Thomas, what are you listening to? No, I'm just kidding. I know what you're saying though.
But yeah, I think it's you have to ask yourselves. I think of the verse, and I can't. You can probably tell me. Everything is permissible, but not everything is beneficial. And so, and so you have to ask yourself, and you have to set up those boundaries for yourself, I think. And it's hard to give encouragement to someone to say, hey, here's the line, because the line could be different for them depending on their personality.
Wouldn't just say it's completely gray area, like figure it out for yourself and you can watch, but it's just not probably as hard in black and white as we would maybe like it to be, which is kind of true in a lot of places in Scripture. But
even it's like if it's sorry, I'll say something really quick, and then I'll go to Amy. And it's just a question: because it can tend to be so subjective. The question I have to ask you is, if my answer was no, how much would that upset you? And that would probably be your indicator whether you should listen to it or not. Like if it's detrimental to you and you don't want to let go to it, if I said, no, you can't, and something within you just naturally wants to say, well, like that's just not fair, then that should already be your warning that you already have a problem. And it's already, so if it's easy for you to let go of, it's like, yeah, I don't care. Then like, fine, then prove it first and foremost.
Yeah, but once you get
stop
super
listening to it
defensive.
for a while, don't get, if you can be fine just letting go of it, then let go of it and prove it, but then do that by proving to yourself that it doesn't have as much as an influence over your life as you would think. So, and then, Amy, what were you going to say?
Well, I was going to say I kind of got a similar question when all of us girls get ready for camp. What do you wear? What's allowed? Kind of a similar concept of like, well, what's okay? It's like, well, if you have a question, you probably maybe shouldn't be wearing it or listening to it or watching it. If you think, oh, should I watch this or can I? Then maybe you shouldn't.
That question
or
might come
you
out of a
can't,
conviction.
Or
that
yeah.
might lead you
So
somewhere.
like, oh man, this movie is super great, but it's rated R, so I don't know if I should watch it. Well, put it on the back burner. Wait a couple years. Come back to it. Or, you know, like, because I have a thing with the finger rule for pants. Like, dude, some girls have really long arms, and then some have really short. I have really long legs. If I follow that rule, it looks like I'm still wearing booty shorts. But I'm following the rule.
I fall into that all the time.
Adam gets
Man.
that
So,
finger
like,
rule with
I
the short
don't-
shorts.
I
Walk
don't
into
go by
church
that
and everybody's like,
rule.
your shorts are way too short.
Every single
Guys.
week.
Adam's following the rule, guys. He said it. But, like, it's kind of like that concept. So, like, for me, when I go out shopping in something, like, if I've, like, oh, man, I really like this outfit. I really like these shorts. If I'm like, oh, man, I don't think I should wear that, then I don't buy it. I put it back. Same thing if you're picking up a game. It's rated M. What should I do? Well, maybe you should put it back for a couple years.
Yeah, no, I think that's really good.
The great thing about games and movies is they'll still be there.
Correct. Absolutely. Even though they might not be cool. What's a video game word for cool or trendy? Hip with the jives.
Well, because I'm just saying, Disney's not
Oh,
Christian, but you're not taking my Disney
don't-
tunes from me.
I have no idea what you're trying to ask me.
Perfect. Well, thanks
I
for
think
not
the
calling,
word.
At least thanks for not calling me a
I
boomer.
think the word you're
Oh,
looking
I'm-
for, Jeff.
I will-
I
is
didn't call you
lit.
that, but I'm thinking it real
All
hard.
right, Thomas. Let's give the mic back to Adam. I want to ask
it's
one more
lit,
question.
Jeff.
I want to. It is lit, fam. All right, here we go.
The next question that came in a few different forms is, why do bad things happen to good people?
Awkward silence.
Yeah. No, I was just gathering my thoughts real quick because I get this question a lot.
I think this question.
Yeah,
too,
a lot, and
like,
especially with what just happened in our life. And the verse that I constantly go to with this is Romans 8:28, where it says, "God, we know God is working everything together for the good of those who love Him and are called according to His purpose." And what really sticks out to me in that verse is says He's working or causes everything to work together. It doesn't say He causes everything. It says He causes it to work together. And the result, the reality is we live in a broken world. And so broken things happen. And so He allows things to happen. And just to, without going into great detail, if you're really wrestling with this question, I'd encourage you to read the book of Job or even just watch it on the Bible Project. That really helped me a lot because that's a question that Job struggles with. And it's really unique, the interaction that he has with God. And I think it gives a lot of insight to this question of God allows things to happen and it's beyond our understanding, and we won't be able to understand it because He is beyond our understanding. But it's coming to, like, do I trust Him with that? And realizing that He is beyond my capability to understand the reasons for allowing something, because my perspective is Des Moines, Iowa. But God's perspective is the entire universe. And so what may seem bad to me of why that was allowed, and I know this gets into all sorts of, like, you know, there's very real things that people deal with, and I don't want to take light of that. But, like, what seems bad to me, I can't even begin to have the perspective of God, and so yeah, that's kind of where is He allows certain things. I don't think He causes everything, but the reality is that we won't be in this broken world forever. Like, we look forward to a future hope where there will be no pain, there will be no tears. And we want to do our best, and I'm getting into, like, just even our opportunity here on earth to bring part of that heaven here to earth in the midst of that brokenness. But anyway, I hope that wasn't too long of a ramble.
No, that's really good. I think that just that highlighted point, like, God isn't up there throwing down lightning bolts causing this brokenness to happen. Like, we live in this broken world, and I think that it's like this grace and love of God, not to... Again, He doesn't cause those things to happen, but we have this free. He's not working us like puppets, and He's letting us live in this world. And to what Brandon was saying about the future hope, like, that gives us the opportunity to see the brokenness that we're surrounded in and say, man, I need a God can look to, and I need to cling to Him and point people towards Him and point people towards that future hope you were talking about. Yeah, which I think is really good. I'm going to hit pause on the questions. We've got a lot of questions
Yeah,
coming in.
this has already
Some of them
been-
are a little
this has already been
heavier.
really good.
Some of them
Yeah.
are a little lighter, but we actually have another fun little break challenge planned, and so why don't we head over to what we're calling the Not My Hands Challenge.
Well, all those questions, they're just very exhausting. And, I just needed a break. And so me and Adam actually both needed a break. So we just decided what better way to take a break than to eat some cupcakes. And so, guys, we are going to show you our beautiful vanilla cupcakes. We're going to show you the way that we investigate these cupcakes. We turn it into an art. It smells beautiful, actually. And so here's what's going to happen. We're just going to make some cupcakes for you guys. And so let me show you what we really do. And so the first thing that we do with these cupcakes is we just stare at them. They're beautiful. And then when we envision the cake of the cup, the cake that goes on the cup, we decide the first thing that needs to go on this cupcake is some frosting. So we take the frosting, and there's a.
We didn't cut.
Then I realized that I forgot. Just so silly of me. I forgot to take the frosting out of the bag, and so there's. I got. You know what? I just can't even right now, and so.
Ooh, Adam,
here's
it's
the thing.
very
I need a knife.
Look at that little flower right there, guys.
Yes, see,
flower.
Adam's doing a great job. Adam, what is this art process you got going on?
I just see it in my mind and it comes to life.
That's art. It's what that is. And so here, I got mine. I want to try and do your art a little bit. And
Caleb, why don't you taste a little bit of the frosting? See what is that?
I want to trust that it's there. And so you know what? My hands are a little busy right now, but I think I need to.
I got some on my finger, Caleb. Whatever shall I do?
2 thumbs up from Adam.
I need to use at least one hand needs to grip it at all times. If you're a pro, you can do it with no hands. But it's
what do you?
it's I think
I can't find the hole in my bag, so I think we're just gonna throw that on the table.
Okay.
Right there. Okay. I need some sprinkles.
Some sprinkles.
Sprinkles.
It's sprinkles.
I was hoping not for blue because blue doesn't really go for the. There we go. I was hoping for these. This is the different
this
colored
has become.
ones. I don't want to put it on that one though because that one doesn't have quite as much frosting. So
Okay, I'm gonna take some of your inspiration.
Oh yeah, just a dash like bam, 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 bam.
The touch.
That's quite eccentric, actually. I need to.
Sorry,
I was so distracted.
Channeling my inner. Hey, you want to bite of that?
Oh, thank you.
That's the exact same thing.
So what I need
We
is.
basically kissed. You don't have COVID, do you?
No,
Okay.
I don't think so. I'll find out in 2 weeks, though.
Here, let me show you how you sprinkle. Sprinkle like that.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Mine doesn't have enough frosting, so I think I need to put some frosting on mine, and so. I'm gonna spread it.
You know what's fun to do when you have sprinkles all over your hands?
What?
You do the sprinkle jazz hands.
The sprinkle jazz hands. That's a wonderful idea. I think
it just gets sprinkles everywhere, and you just feel festive, and it's just so much fun.
So far, you have 2 cupcakes done. I've got 0.
One's only kind of done.
Did you know I was ADD? I keep getting so distracted by your beautiful cupcakes that I need. Okay, so let me mix this together.
Oh, there we go. Okay, now we got this other one. I decided to do a layer of sprinkles first underneath.
Oh, that's good sense. That's
and
just
then
smart.
you just kind of mash it together, and you get a little. Look at that little like flower reaction.
That is beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah. So
I've never
now I
seen
need
someone
to
use the
spread
bag
my
to
spread
texturize before.
on the spread of the cupcake.
Get on my level, Jeff.
I think this will really preach at some point because here's the thing: cupcakes are a lot like Jesus. And here's the thing: when you have a cupcake, and the thing about a cupcake is we're like the cupcake, but when you spread the frosting of Jesus over the cupcake, all of a sudden it's glorified. And in the same way, Jesus glorifies us to be beautiful
to the world that we could point the sprinkles of Jesus.
Oh my, amen.
And just,
amen.
you
You know what? Sometimes I just gotta raise a hand in hallelujah. Hallelujah. Okay.
Testify.
Testify about the love of Jesus. And I think to close out this little segment, we should feed each other.
That's a great idea. That's a great idea.
So can you? I don't like the wrapper.
Okay.
Can you take the wrapper off yours, please?
You know what?
I took it off yours.
I think it adds to the flavor, really.
No, it doesn't.
I think it adds the flavor. All right, so I'm gonna eat your cupcake first. Oh.
Is this like what they do at the weddings?
What?
This is like what they do at weddings. Oh, you guys.
Biblical?
You know what?
A little too much.
Just so I can compare.
Oh my goodness.
How was it? Oh, goodness.
That is so
I
much
was just
cupcake.
overcome with desire for this cupcake.
High five.
Yeah.
We did
Sweet.
good.
Awesome. Well, friends, thank you for letting me make a cupcake. Adam made a cupcake, really. I was just more of an observer of his beauty and craftsmanship. Let's go back to asking some more questions, I think, is what we have next.
Yeah, let's bring us back to some more questions and answers.
Oh man, guys, my mom won't let me wear my mask anymore around the house. I don't even know why. But I'm a bird, I'm a bird, I'm a bird, I'm a bird, I'm a bird on this side, I'm a bird on that side. Swervy, swervy, swerve.
I think the important thing to remember when you're watching that amazing video that Brandon did all by himself and had no voiceover for, that probably wasn't me, was the fact that I was definitely in my office with all of our staff around, just sitting in the main room going, we share walls with other businesses, and they're probably like, what is going on?
There was someone in the building next getting a massage, and they hear,
we have like a therapeutic massage, so a lot of elderly people go in and get massages just for their joints and everything, just hearing a lot of bird noises happening that day. But it was worth it. Brandon, you're a TikTok famous person.
I mean,
do you have now?
Dozens. He's got to have dozens
100,
of followers.
Caleb.
100?
I have 100
That's good.
followers. Yes.
I mean, it's not my 34,000, but it's whatever.
Wow! What a flex over there.
He brought the heat.
All
It's
right.
about the quality of my content, not the quantity. And speaking of quality, I gotta say, those cupcakes, you guys are brilliant
You're a
cupcake
master.
artistes.
you know what? I've been decorating for about 34 years now.
34 years. Wow.
Yeah. So.
Well, some of the techniques I saw you using clearly is from the hand of the expert.
Yeah, I took a Emerald Lagasse cupcake decorating class in college. Yeah,
I missed the opportunity.
It was life changing.
Was it? Were you funded by a scholarship, or did you have to pay that?
Oh
out of your pocket?
yes. The Cupcake Decorators of America paid for my entire education.
Yeah. See, I just couldn't afford the classes.
But then you know what? It got a little too political, and so I had to.
I get the cupcake world. Am I right?
Yeah.
You just can't escape it.
Yeah. So I bowed out, and that's when I felt called to ministry.
You know what? It is crazy how similar our stories are.
Wow, we're like twins.
I just love it. Oh, man. All right, well, as we make our way back into questions, I thought we'd just go through a little bit of rapid-fire questions. And so we're going to start here. They might need some time. I think we go improv. Go team. All right, I think we have a couple put-in questions up there for the rapid-fire round. So if Josiah just wants to rapid-fire those off, I'll read them off the screen, and we can answer as quickly as he can. We'll just do one at a time. We already did favorite color. Next up, we know
New one.
Caleb's favorite color is clouds. Favorite homemade meal
Homemade
for
meal.
Thomas?
Does it have to be something I make or just anything that I eat?
Homemade?
It's not rapid fire.
I don't know.
Slowest rapid fire.
Some sort of food with probably pasta or something. I don't know.
Love it. All right, question for Adam. What is our next rapid fire question? It is favorite travel destination.
Easy.
The
Colorado.
home of the Cupcake University.
No, Colorado. That's where I go to escape the stress from the cupcake world.
Yes. I just get them mixed up. Sorry, I totally understand. All right, Amy, question for Amy. Rapid fire round. It is. Amy, any hobbies?
I bake.
You bakes? No way.
What a coincidence.
Look at that.
I would love to be your sponsor.
Really?
Yes.
What can
for
you
the
offer
Cupcake
me?
University. So there's someone ahead of me. He recruited 2 guys. Okay. Now I have to recruit 2 people.
Oh, okay.
And then the great, awesome thing about this is
it's a multi-level marketing opportunity.
Yes.
How exciting.
You could make up to 50 cents a year doing this full time.
That's fantastic.
Like
Well,
crazy.
Guys,
Too
we'll
bad.
talk later.
We'll talk.
Too
We're gonna
bad I
rapid
already
fire
made the
round. Let's pass it
cupcake.
over to Brandon. Brandon, what is
Yes.
your question? What's your favorite restaurant here in Des Moines?
My
out of Des Moines?
my
What
favorite
do you-
restaurant. This is easy. It's Alice's Sweetwater Bar and Grill out in Naples, Florida, because they have amazing buffalo shrimp.
Really?
Buffalo shrimp, jumbo buffalo
that?
shrimp. Naples, Florida.
Are they jumbo or
Yeah,
are
Naples.
they shrimp? I don't understand.
How big?
They're
are they?
jumbo
The small-
shrimp. They're
doesn't-
together.
Small, medium,
Okay,
large.
just let me. This is supposed to be rapid fire, so we're gonna send it over to Caleb. But let me just be real about it. Like, if you've had buffalo shrimp here in Iowa, like, no, you haven't. No.
Well, it
That's
has
all
to
I'm
be
gonna say.
shipped to the middle of.
Caleb.
Okay.
Rapid fire question. What's your favorite? We already have
I
done
already answered
movies.
this. Yeah,
But what is your favorite TV show? Same arena.
It's Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Nice, nice.
So good. I've been binge watching it.
Nice.
Do we have an extra question up there for me, Josiah?
doesn't exist.
I feel a little answery. Where were you born?
Orlando.
Who's that? Why? Why do you need to know that?
Also, follow-up question: mother's maiden name
And social security number. If we could just get that real quick. I was born in a suburb of Chicago, Illinois.
When I was 5, moved up to the Twin Cities, grew up there, and then came on down to Des Moines after I finished. Sorry?
What happened to your voice? What happened to your voice?
Sorry? That's my question answering voice.
Yeah, that's the only one question
Where
at
was
a
I?
time.
I was born in Chicagoland, Illinois. So moving on to back to some of the questions. And to be fair, you guys did ask those questions, but on maybe a little step up the deepness level, we have another question that came in, and it is, sorry, I scattered all over the place. Why do I go through depression, anxiety, etc.? And I'm sure this could be rephrased in a lot of different ways of like how to deal with it, or if a friend is walking through it. There's our question.
I'll take this. I don't know about if any of you guys, but I try and be very open about my struggle with depression, just because it's not mental health isn't a topic we talk about a lot in the church. Luckily, it's becoming more and more not taboo. What's not taboo? Well, okay, less taboo.
Tabooed.
Detabutization
Yes, thank you.
of the topic of mental health, but it's still, I think, a lot more people struggle with it than will admit, and especially so in the church. First and foremost, I want to say it's okay that you struggle with this. That doesn't mean you're less of a Christian or not as good of a follower of Jesus. All it simply means is life is hard. And sometimes it's situational. Sometimes, though, like in my case, it is basically a sickness. And we don't like to think of it as a sickness, as your emotions are sick. No, my brain is sick. My brain isn't producing the chemicals it needs to think properly and view the world properly. And so luckily there are medications that can help with that. And so if you are struggling with mental health or depression, anxiety, whatever it may be anywhere in there, know that you're not alone, and you're definitely not alone in the church, and you're probably not alone in your youth group.
100%.
Yeah.
And so, go ahead,
Absolutely. I was going to say, as someone who also has grown up with depression and anxiety, I think there's a lot of reasons why people go through these things. I think first and foremost, I think it's a result of the fall. Like, it's a result of what happened at the beginning of time when sin and evil entered the world, and because of that, brokenness entered into the world. And as a result of that, you have people who struggle through things like this. And so that's first and foremost reason. But secondly, I think part of it just goes into the way that your personality works. So for me, I think what a major contributor for me is that part of my personality is I think very fast. I have ADD, but because of that, I think very fast-paced. And the way that my brain works is I tend to,
usually think very. I think a lot with my feelings, and so it's very far in my feelings. But because of that, when you're distracted very easily, when I was in 4th grade, people picked on me a lot because when I was a kid, like it wasn't cool to like Star Wars and comic books and stuff like that. And now it's cool to like superheroes, but not when I was a kid. And so when people would make fun of you for that, and they would say things to you like you're a nerd or whatever, when you go home and when you would go home, when you're distracted, you're thinking about whatever, but all of a sudden the memory of those words would come back into your brain. And so you get distracted by that. And then I'm the kind of person who would think about it over and over and over. And you think in what they say and how they said it over and over again, you've then produced this bad habit of negative thinking. And so when you produce this bad habit, now it becomes a spiral out of control, and it becomes part of this developed disease in your brain to where you're naturally more likely to fall into this pit of your feelings, and you're thinking about these things or anxieties, worst case scenarios, and you dwell on these things over and over again. And so one of the biggest things that helped me, other than just getting in the Word and taking my cares to God, is actually taking out like a journal, writing down the thoughts that were negative. Like, why do I always feel like I'm always alone? I would write down these things that I would think like I'm always alone, nobody cares about me, whatever. And I would write that thought down, and then right next to it, I would write whether that's actually true. And the answer is always no. And so I would train myself to get back into a habit of combating negative thinking. And then I would put truth into that and remind myself of God's word. Mm-hmm. And so when you do that over and over again, you set yourself up for success with combating negative thinking and having a better foothold over depression and anxiety.
I think that's really good. I know for me, whenever I'm feeling like anxious or just worked up, stirred up, journaling and just getting it out makes a huge difference. And I think it's super easy. And again, the thing that makes this tough to talk about is not everybody deals with it in the same exact way. Mm-hmm. But I think it's super easy once you have all of those thoughts to get in, and you get in that toilet bowl spiral almost, is you just start to internalize it, and everything becomes in, and you start to close off and then just get into this posture when what we really need to do is bring it into the light. And everyone hears that and they're like, no, but I don't want to do that. Yeah. And I remember just like, there's a lot of times when there's just these things that I'm struggling with in my brain, and I'm like, okay, well, how do I deal with this? Like, how can I help like take steps out of depression or anxiety? And looking for that quick fix of like, well, if you just pray, it's gone forever. Yeah. You're like, okay, well, that's part of it. That doesn't mean don't pray, but there's a lot to it. And so I think one of those things is, like Caleb was saying, get it out. And whether it's starting with journaling, but then talking to others about it and realizing that once you get into this posture, you start to believe that lie that I'm the only one who struggles with this. I'm the only one who, no one else feels like, I must be a crazy person for feeling like this. Yeah. And once you get there, I mean, no wonder, like, there's just deep hurt by this, is because we start to convince ourselves and have those thoughts like you were talking about, like that I'm the one that's screwed up and I'm hurt and there's no way out of this, and that's simply not true. That doesn't mean there's an easy path walking forward out, just 3-step program and you're done. But once we can get out of, I like to be physical with it. When you get from this posture and start to be able to open up to others, get it out and open up and be honest with God and say, hey, it sucks that I'm feeling this way. Let's move forward. That's at least in my own life where I've started to see it's not a perfect sprint of freedom, but it's steps in the right direction.
And it's okay to talk to somebody. Mm-hmm. I think I can't, like you said, you kind of internalize it. And
I'd like to say too, don't talk to everybody. Well, hey, mailman, come here. We got some words. No, like a trusted individual.
Yeah, it doesn't even need to be someone you know. And I think that's where I struggle a lot. Now, when I say that, like you said, just don't go up to anybody and say, hey, okay. you are now my accountability partner with my depression. But there is absolutely no harm, and there's nothing to be ashamed of going to a counselor, a therapist, a psychiatrist, or a psychologist. First learn how to say the name, and then maybe look them up to go find them. But there's no shame in that, because they're educated and trained to help you in those areas. That's huge. A lot of times, even though I'm a youth pastor, I'm not equipped to help some people with their mental health issues. That's not, I don't have that training. And so, but it doesn't have to be someone you know. And sometimes for me, I've noticed that's almost easier to talk to someone I don't know. And like, yeah, it's just easier to talk to someone that I have no
good
connection
to get over
with.
that stigma of seeing a counselor, seeing a therapist. Like it's good for your health. And I know this is a question that we could all talk about for a long time. We could share from our own experiences. We could dive into the Word. And so I just want to say to everyone who's listening, if you want to hear more about this, please talk to us. Send us a text, an email, DM on Instagram. Like get a hold of us, and we can talk more. Like Adam said, we're not experts on this, so we might not have all of the answers, but we're here. And we'd love to talk and maybe direct towards counseling or that type of thing. But we are here.
I just want to say one quick. This is so quick, but it's something that I've heard as like to help with. And I've been depressed, but I haven't struggled with depression. But anyone that I've heard who's gone through something where they've reached a point of uncomfortability, where it's like, anything else would be, I just want to try anything. Most people I've talked to, they've been given the advice: start serving others. Start serving others, and it's crazy, maybe, but everyone that I talked to, I was just reading a book where a guy was talked about, he had tendonitis in his ear, the ringing in his ear, and it was like the worst, and he couldn't get rid of it. No doctors could get rid of it, and he went and talked to somebody else who was dealing with the same thing, and he goes, just start giving your whole heart to serving others. And that's what he did, and all this, and the ringing didn't go away, but his life was so much better. Like, so if that's a struggle of yours, like, yes, get in community, yes, write it down. But my small piece of advice would just be start serving other people, and you'll be amazed at what that does for your heart and even your depression.
Just taking that step of a posture thing from in to out, and again, that's not going to lickety split fix it. But I love that, Brandon.
I could affirm that 100%. Like, I have a personal story where, like, I was working at a camp. And I was in the middle of just like feeling just absolutely just depressed, just 100%, just completely down in it, super Eeyore style, just like couldn't even get over it. And I just, in that moment, I just got pushed through it, and I said, I just need to just go start encouraging people. So I just went out to all my different coworkers at this camp and just started saying things about them that I really like about them, encouraging them, laughing with them. And there's just something about that just brought me out of that little pit. And so, yeah, if you struggle with depression, I really, really encourage serving others, encouraging others. And even, and just one other quick thing is know yourself. Know who you are. The more you learn about yourself, the more you understand about yourself, the more you'll be able to have a better control over this thing, because you'll be able to see these things from a different point of view. Like, if you struggle with depression, the chances are you're probably going to end up being a lot wiser than most people your age, because you're stuck in your head so much. You're stuck in these things. Your brain processes through this almost maturity because you process through this painful, stressful thing in your mind and in your feelings. You think deeper. You're usually more creative. There are things that on the other side of your depression and anxiety come incredible strengths that God can use you to do extraordinary things for Him.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. I think, that's good stuff. There's so much here. We could unpack this forever, but it looks like time. We have just a handful of minutes left. Is it okay if we just go a little bit longer?
Yeah, dude, go for it.
We got one more question.
Josiah, is it okay if we go a little bit long? We need to ask the adult in the room.
He's saying yes. I think he's saying yes. I think he's saying yes. Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Cool.
Nailed it. Okay.
Josiah, you sound like a little girl, but that's cool.
It's so weird. It must be the echo in the room that kind of changes his voice. This last question, it gets a little ooey and gooey, and a few questions about relationships. And so
that's how you describe.
So Thomas isn't answering any of these.
Ooey and gooey.
Songs of songs. But
the specific question that isn't very specific is what does God say about relationships? And so I don't know if we just want to go around quick and talk about just what we think the Bible has to say about godly relationships, and expand on that. It's a pretty broad question, so I think we can take it in a few different directions. Again, I'm gonna try to be mindful of time, but we are gonna take some time to talk here. So Thomas, you want to start us off?
No, I
Yeah.
was just gonna say, can I
microphone?
like just applaud the enthusiasm that you think they're gonna answer real quick?
Real. Sorry. Yeah,
Like,
that's
I'm
right.
sorry, but there is
Buckle
nothing
up,
real
everybody.
quick
We've
about
got
y'all's
3 more
answers.
hours.
Here we go.
Like, y'all aren't quick.
Are you gonna start?
Go for it.
Yeah, go for it.
What was the question again?
Awesome. What does God say about relationships?
Babe, what's God say about relationships?
Ooh.
They're married,
It's
by the
okay
way,
to
if you
be
didn't know.
single.
Actually,
That it's going to be so hard and that every moment. I thought that's where you were going to go with
Okay.
that.
I
with
mean,
Brandon
some
there.
people are meant to be single. I'm just saying. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't read the mushy.
I'll start.
Bible.
First, I mean, as far as relationships go, I think it's important that you start with what is the most important relationship that you have. And it's easy in my life to put basically every other relationship that I have above my relationship with God.
For sure.
And that sets up every relationship that you have for failure. I cannot rely on my wife, Katie, more than I rely on God, because although Katie is an amazing wife, if she's watching, are you watching? I'm saying some nice stuff. But she is an amazing wife, and she does a lot to serve our family. She is human. She will fail at some point. And so if I put all of my trust and reliance on her, I'm going to fall. However, the only relationship that has stood the test of time in my life is my relationship with God. And so that needs to come first before you talk about any relationship that you could have here on earth.
Yeah. And I know for me, I'll just talk through my experience. I know in middle and high school, having a girlfriend meant you were the cat's pajamas. I think that's what we said back in the 2000s. We do.
No.
Just the cool.
No one does.
Thomas? Sweet.
No one.
Is it on the Discords?
No.
Go,
No.
go, 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 go.
No,
I think that's the new trend on
Nobody
TikTok.
says that.
But dude, it's like it was so important whether or not you were dating. Who do you like and all this stuff, and you just put again. I just have this visual image of who are you putting on this pedestal, and like Adam was saying, the moment that you put someone up there, they're taking the place of God, and you can't. I just think of this image of you're putting the weight of your entire life, all the problems and brokenness inside of you, and trying to place that on another person to hold in the midst of their own brokenness and their own hurts and faults, and that's just going to break someone.
they were
Whether it's
never meant to
you,
handle that.
Never meant
to handle that.
There's one person that's meant to handle that, and that is God. A cord of 3 strands, they say that because he is the one you can lean on. You can cast all of your cares on him. You can place your burdens onto him because he can carry that weight. He cares for you. And so I guess this is kind of echoing what Adam said, but if you put the weight of your life onto someone else, expecting them to fill all of those gaps, you're just going to realize that they have their own gaps. And once, you kind of lean on each other, it's going to fall. And you realize, we're both human, and it hurts, and we need a God that we can look to that's going to hold us and be strong.
I think the easiest way to tell if that's a problem for you, and this is a question you have to ask yourself, right? And I'm saying I even have to ask this with my wife, Amy. If I come to a place where I feel like I couldn't do without, I would not be complete without, then there's probably an issue there, because you're putting all that weight on that person. And I'm saying that as even if I come to that place with Amy, and I love Amy, and I could say everything that you said about Katie. Amy is an amazing mom. She's an amazing wife to me, our family, and she's going. But I've really had to ask myself in certain moments, am I? If I can't say, if I man, I would be nothing without her, then there's a problem there, because she's never meant.
You complete me.
Yeah, you were never meant. She was never meant to fulfill that. My goal in being in a relationship with her is where the mindset of that should be is for me to lift her up and to bless her, not the other way around. I mean, and when you're both doing that, you both get blessed. And then on the second side of that I just want to say is, I hate this thing in our culture that says everybody has to be married, everyone has to be in a dating relationship.
Yeah, can we talk about singleness for a little bit?
Singleness is a good thing. It's a season, and one of the best analogies I've ever heard of this is I was listening to this preacher JP, and he was talking about singleness, and he said yeah, Jonathan Bakuda. But he was talking about how, like, you know, when you get a gift card.
I do. Yes.
You're getting those from
today.
Amazon. Yeah. But at a certain point, it expires, right? And if you don't use that cash, it's just gone. And a lot of times we waste the season of singleness looking for the season of being in a relationship, and then it's gone. But I love how Paul talks about, like, he even says, man, it would be better to be single because I can serve the Lord. But for those of you who are in a relationship, this is what you should do. And he speaks on it on both sides. So basically what I want to say with that is, if you're honoring people and you're honoring God, he'll bless whatever season you're in, whether it's singleness or in a relationship. But either one, if you stay single for the rest of your life, like, and people are going, man, because I'll have people say this to my brother all the time because he's single, be like, when are you getting married? When are you getting, and it's like, I'm just like, stop. That's his season. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. Nowhere does it say you're supposed to be married by 25 and have kids by 30, or you need a boyfriend or girlfriend all throughout high school, and otherwise you're not cool, whatever. No, is the season you're in honoring God and is honoring people, and God will bless that, whether it's single or being in a relationship.
There's a similar thing where a pastor was just talking about those different seasons, and this is what resonated with me. I was single for like 7 years coming out of college, and all my friends are getting married and starting to have kids, and I'm sitting here like, oh, like that's just this feeling I have inside, because it's like, is this ever going to end? And it just felt like this giant hole because I was putting it on this pedestal. But I heard this pastor talking about these seasons, and he said, like, chances are, statistics say you're going to be married someday. And he was talking to college students, so he's like, in the next 10 years, you're probably going to be married. Just statistically speaking, most of you will be. Do you want to look back on the single season of your life and be like, oh man, I had the most time and resources and abilities to do what I wanted for God or for the kingdom than ever before in my life. I used them so well. Like, I used that season to glorify God, to serve others, and to be an influence and be there for people who maybe didn't have as much time as I did? Or do you want to look back and be like, man, I played so much Xbox. And I
just was trying to find a girlfriend or boyfriend the whole time. Like,
exactly. Like, do you want to look back and be like, oh, thank the Lord that this season of my life is over, and just wish that season away? Or do you want to, like Paul was saying, use this season for the gift that it is, to be able to, at the drop of a hat, say, I can go help. I can go serve. I can serve in here, because I have the capacity. I have the time. And then just one last quick, really practical thing that this pastor also talked about is, like, when it comes to this desire to have someone and be married, just this honest question of, like, what is dating for? It's to be married someday. You're not just trying to sit in this season. It's like it's a thing that you're traveling through, an evaluation process of another person that you're traveling through towards marriage. So honestly, you might not like hearing this. I would have hated hearing this if I was in middle and high school. But are you ready to get married in the next 6 to 12 months? And that's not to say if you start dating someone that you have to marry them in 6 to 12 months. But it's like, are you in the space where you could see yourself in a year getting married? And if the answer is no, I mean, I haven't finished middle school, let alone high school, and then college, and then I want to get settled in my career, and then that's like 10 years away. It's like, okay, dating isn't meant to just be this status that you sit in. It's this process that you move through. And I think once we start, like, reframing our minds,
tweet that later.
Ben Stewart, do not give that to me. But, like, if we can start to see that and make that shift from what culture says and just like social media culture of having to have this person hold on to give me identity and peace, and turn it into this process that we move towards so that we can be a team that lives to glorify God together, and we are better together to glorify God. Like, that's what relationships are for in my eyes, and that's what I've seen. And so,
what a more exciting thing to be a part of.
Yeah. I've said something similar like that to students. Mm-hmm. One, it doesn't go well.
I'm sorry, you guys are maybe, do we have less listeners?
So there's that, because, like, I think of myself when I was their age, like, wow, I can pull that card now. But it's like when I was 16, okay, one, that was not a good time of my life.
We'll talk about that next year.
Two, it's like, when I look at that relationship, it's like, do I see myself marrying this person, or at least getting to the point where I would consider that? Mm-hmm. If that answer is no, then why am I still with that person?
Yeah.
Like, it's harder on both of you, especially if the other person thinks that they're in that boat. Like, if, let's say you're old enough, you're 18, and you're like, oh man, like, I could see myself with this person for the rest of my life. If you're not feeling that, like, dude, that's gonna crush the other person so hard. Like, just get out. Like, if you're not interested in marrying that person, why date them at all?
Yeah, if it's more the status symbol that you're holding on to, maybe not a good idea.
I'm sorry, I'm the blunt one sitting here. Like, don't do it. Get out.
For sure.
Get out now.
I know, Caleb, you had some thoughts on this?
Yeah, well, just reiterating what some of y'all are saying, but really following up on a word that was repeated a lot, which is the word like season. And my biggest encouragement to you is that every season of your life is an opportunity to learn something about God. So I'll give you two examples of when I was single and when I'm now dating someone, and she's amazing. But my years of singleness taught me what it means to be independent as a person and to have sole reliance on God. Being single taught me what it means to have a backbone. Like, it taught me how to be reliant on myself as a person, but ultimately my independence is solely reliant on God. And through that time, it taught me more about God and his love for me. It taught me about what God can do through me, how God can empower me to do ministry, to encourage other people. And while you're single, you have more opportunities than a person in a relationship does. When I was, and I'll give you a practical example, when I was in high school, so not like a couple years ago, but like when I was your age, if you're watching this right now, when I was in 10th grade, it was summer after 10th grade, so between summer 10th and 11th grade, I had a friend of mine who literally called me and said, hey, do you have your passport updated? And I was like, yeah, why? He was like, you want to go to Jamaica and plan a youth camp? I had nothing holding me down. So I was like, boom, done. Packed my bags, told my parents, hey, I'll see you in 2 weeks. Went to Jamaica, planted a youth camp, had the time of my life. Came back, did a summer internship with my uncle in Ohio for 6 weeks. Came back, spoke at some youth camps. Like, and I was
using that singleness well. Like, that's
it was. That time of my life was such amazing ministry. I was able to just go to the mall and talk to people about Jesus just because I felt like it. Like, it was just, there was nothing holding me down because the only person I had to worry about was myself. That was the only person I had to work. I was the only person I was having to take care of. But then also being in a relationship is a season of your life where you get to discover new things about God. Like I said, like I've been in a relationship for a little while now, and there's something amazing about the different seasons of a relationship. Like when you meet that person for the first time and you have all those feelings, you're like, oh my God, yes, I just like love them. They're just amazing. Like, yes, like all those like feelings. There's like incredible, and those things can
call that the infatuation stage.
The infatuation, yeah. Those feelings can teach you about your relationship with God. There's a book that a lot of us neglect, which is Song of Songs, and it's like super like PG-13 level poetry.
I'd give it an R or X on that one.
Yeah, I'm going to go a little bit higher than that.
It very much goes on the edge of a lot of things, but it's like, but the Bible? Yeah, it's a book that if you read it, you'll blush reading that book. And yet that is God's inspired word to us. This romantic, ancient, like, sexy romance novel in the Bible is like God's word to us. And what's it about? It's about these two lovers who are just like, I just want to be with this person like forever. We're just going to run off in the fields and just snuggle and whatever they're going to talk about.
I don't know what translation it is.
But the point is, you read that book of the Bible and you read these passages, and it's so reflective of the same kind of feelings you can have for another person. And so a relationship season of your life is an opportunity to grow deeper in your relationship with God, because as you have these feelings for another person, you can then turn that around and say, what would it look like if I had these feelings for God? What if it looked like if I just looked at God and saw how much he loves me, he cares about me, how much he seeks me, and I get to seek him and read my Bible and learn more about him. The more you grow into a relationship, as it matures, those butterfly infatuations, they don't last forever. So what do you do when the butterflies end? You have to now go based on what you know about the person after however long you've been with them. And it's the same thing with your relationship with God. You're going to have this fire where you're like, yes, Jesus, woo! Like, that's going to be a season of your life, hopefully. But you use that to just run into the Bible, get to know him. So when that time ends, man, you get
to use your knowledge of God to fuel your relationship with him, to honor him, to reflect his good word. I mean, there's so many, every single season of your life, everything that you go through, whether it's singleness, relationships, whether it's depression, anxiety, whether it's persecution from friends who make fun of you, every season of your life is an opportunity to grow into a deeper relationship with God. So that's what I would say.
No, yeah, for sure. I think to get back to this original question, what does God say about relationships? He says, one, he created them. They're incredible. He did it for a reason to bring
He is a
together.
God of relationship.
Absolutely, the Trinity. And so, like, he laid that out for us and gave us a model, and it's just, important that he is at the center of that, I think, is one thing that we can for sure hold on to, is what does God say about relationships? Is that he created them, he needs to be a part of them, and that these kind of uncomfortable seasons that we might feel ourselves in, I think every single one of us has felt that at some point, whether it was middle school, high school, or beyond. And so I've said this before, it's some of those maybe questions that are coming out of, like, what brought this question up, those feelings in your heart, is a good case of the normals. There's a lot of people around you who are probably feeling that same way and that same pressure that we're all feeling. And so one thing I want to do as we kind of wrap up this question is put the one single guy on the spot, because we were talking about singleness for a little bit, and I didn't hear from the single guy.
The sage himself.
Right here, Thomas. And so
Right.
I see you have the microphone there.
When
I just
you're
wanna hear
when you're
kind of
single,
some
you have the freedom to grow
perspective.
your hair as long
That's
as
true.
you would like.
That's
Very true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thank you.
Braid it while he
Thank you.
Please.
Thanks.
Okay, Thomas, what do you got?
What do I? Yeah. Here's the thing.
Preach.
Here's the thing. If you're listening to this and you're not on this stage, you're young, like still really young. And I know that kind of sucks because like, oh yeah, I'm young. No. Really, seriously, you're young. Most people, I don't know, what's the average age that people get married these days? It's like it's creeping closer
It's
to
up
30.
29, 30,
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you're listening to this, you're 15, you're 16, you're even 18. Okay, if you're 18 years old, you have another 10 years before the statistics say you get married. That's a long time. And something that I think people fall into the trap of is waiting to be a good person until they're married or dating someone, or
So good.
and I don't mean good in like the way that like, oh, I'm a good person, but I mean it's really easy to just sort of sit and go, oh well, here I am. This is what the purpose of this season of my life is, to just sit here and just wait, and then someone will fall in love with me, and
everything will be
and then
I'll
and
start
then
taking
my
faith
life
seriously.
starts, right?
Then
Yeah,
I'll start
then it's-
taking this seriously. Then I'll start doing this.
right. And the important thing to remember is not only should you not wait to get your life in order before you start dating someone, it's I would say pretty heavily encouraged to do so. I can imagine. Okay, imagine if you were about to get married to someone and they said, hey, just so you know, I haven't put any effort into my personal development at all because I was waiting for you to do it.
Oh, cool.
That's you probably wouldn't love that. You'd say, hey, wait a second,
Bye.
you never went through that. You never learned how to do that for yourself. You never learned how to be like that. It's kind of offensive to them, right? Like, isn't that kind of not a chill thing to do?
That reminds me of Andy Stanley he wrote a book on basically this line, but just become the person you're looking for is looking for. And so,
right.
Let me say that again. Become
Please.
the person that the person you're looking for is looking for. So you're not just sitting there waiting. You just said this. You're not waiting for that person to come and be like, all right, now I can start doing this.
Yeah.
But you're trying to become that person that you're hopeful when you find that person, they've been doing that same thing, trying to become that person,
right,
and build that foundation and grow closer to God in all of that.
Right.
Focus on becoming instead of just finding.
And the other thing I think we have to frame this as is you're not becoming, like we talked about, you're not developing yourself to be married. No, that's not the point.
Marriage does not complete you as a human.
Right. The
it's
goal,
not like your graduation of Christian life.
So the important thing, the takeaway here is not, oh, I have to go develop myself for years so that I can be the perfect husband or the perfect wife.
That's good.
No, you have to develop yourself for years so that you can be the best follower of Jesus Christ that you can be. It has nothing to do with who you're getting married to, who you're going to date. That's irrelevant. Completely irrelevant.
All right.
Develop not just
drop the mic.
That's it. That's
drop
it.
the mic. No, seriously, that is so
you
good.
You have to develop not just for yourself, but get off me. Don't. I'm not affiliated with him. The important thing is to thank you, is to develop for you and your relationship with God. I mean, we talked about that earlier, but that's really, I don't want that to get lost in the sauce. Like, it's not about developing for.
That's a hip statement.
It's not about developing for your relationship. What do you want to be like? What do you want to be like for you?
No,
What kind of person? You have to live with yourself forever. Who do you want to be?
Well, not to go morbid here, but like eventually one of us is going to die.
That's true. Also
so
very
if
true.
I'm like super reliant on him and I
What was that?
No, we've seen this before in the older community. Like, they've been together since they're 16. Well, back in those times, it was the men that handled everything. So when the 90-year-old great grandpa passes away, what does the woman do? Like, his grandma didn't know how to fill the car up with gas. Like, she didn't. Finances, like nothing. So if you don't learn that when you're single,
right?
Like, what are you gonna do if the other person?
You heard it here, folks. Women, don't be useless.
Don't.
And I guess everyone. Sorry, everyone. I mean everyone.
Well, like, it's hard.
I mean everyone. I mean everyone.
And then you have the couples that they unfortunately pass early.
Yeah.
It's like, what if we?
No, it's true. I have joked around with my fiance Elise. I said, if you someday, when we are old, if you start dying, I will die so much faster because I don't want to know how to do all these things. You are gonna, Anyway,
a good relationship is about serving each other.
And
it's a race to serve one another better. But
so good.
to kind of because we could go on and on about this.
I know we got to wrap
forever.
this thing up.
But so I think this transitions well though, because I hear us talking. The question was, what does God say about relationships? And I think we tend to just go immediately to girl and guy. But the reality,
this question was
okay, it was about girl and guy. Sweet.
I know where you're going.
But but the reality is, and we've talked about this a lot during this whole thing. Is life is hard. Life is hard.
Amen.
But we were never meant to do it alone. We weren't. And that's why relationship is so important. And God, again, as we said, exemplifies that in the fact that he is a God of relationship. 3 in 1, Father. And I know that's really hard for some of us to wrap our head around. It is for me. But the reality is he's a God of relationship. And we're created in his image. And we're meant to be in relationship. And that's the very reason we keep doing this thing. That's the reason we put so much effort into being up here on stage, and then we ask Josiah to take care of everything else.
Yeah, as long as Josiah does all the hard stuff.
But
if Josiah dies, we are done.
But that's the reason we keep.
I'm gonna die so much faster.
So much faster.
We keep doing all this is because we want to help connect you guys with one another. We want to help connect you with the creator of our universe, with Christ. With Yahweh, our God. Like, we want to help because those relationships in our life are so, so important. And so that's the reason we do this, to be unified as one and to have those relationships so that even though this life can be hard, it's so much better when we do it together. So that's what this is all about, and that's why we do this thing. And so we just want to keep encouraging you guys, even past tonight. And I know this is kind of weird because we've been doing all this stuff online, right? And it's been a weird season to be in, right? And I've learned a lot about my relationship with God and relationship with others. But here's the thing. Whether you're connecting with people in the chat, whether you were playing games with us this afternoon, whether you were in the Netflix party last night, I can't encourage you enough to be intentional about continuing a relationship. I have students.
It's okay to reach out to someone and say, hey, do you want to hang out? Like, that's not awkward. I think it's shifted into this, like, oh, can I ask someone to hang out?
I know, right?
That's so awkward.
But here's the thing. I have so many students. I talk to my guys, and they're just, we're stuck at home, and they're like, oh, I'm feeling crap. And I'm like, when's the last time you reached out to so-and-so? Well, I don't know. Well, dude, why don't you try? Yeah. That's why. We're meant to be in relationship.
Absolutely.
And in consistent community centered around Christ. And so I can't encourage that enough.
Yeah, we can do that. It's like through the Discord servers that we have.
Or just share your gamer tag right now. Share your gamer tag
in the chat.
Text someone that you've met through this whole thing. You get their stay connected.
Exactly.
Stay connected.
There's different ways that we can do that. And so
you can follow me on TikTok to stay connected under Cupcake Captain.
Cupcake. You guys remember? Shout out to the Cupcake.
And you saw my TikTok, so that's at Pruitt Brandon if you want to be encouraged.
Now, as I wrap things up today, we have gone so over time, but I'm going to do my best to wrap things up pretty quickly. I want to say for the final prizes.
I have one more thought.
No! We're done!
Oh, which speaking of prizes,
No,
yeah,
you
have
this
one
cool
more.
thing. If you won in the game earlier today, if you've won through
The Netflix party.
the Netflix party,
Yeah,
we
yeah,
handed
all
out
that.
a lot of gift cards and prizes today. Make sure you reach out to us. We'll reach out to you. We'll get connected and give you your gift cards. But there's one more to give away. Woo! Because if you noticed, we hit a little Easter egg in, that's what an Easter egg is.
But there's
An Easter egg that's just kind of been around and behind us. Maybe you've noticed this fellow who has been hanging out with us. It's not just the 6 of us up here.
Yeah, there's somebody else
There's
here.
another guy, girl, I'm not sure. The
I'm
Lord
pretty
is
sure
here,
it's a
but
woman.
someone else too. And that's what we're trying to find out. So in the chat, in the YouTube, if you can tell me what I'm talking about, this 7th person in the next 30 seconds.
Where are they?
Then
Samantha?
and where this thing is,
Any-
then you will win our final Amazon gift card of the night. So throw it in the YouTube.
Jeff. Is it Samantha?
Sorry?
Have you seen Frozen 2?
You know I love my
Guys.
Frozen.
Come on.
He's not even married. He doesn't have kids. Why would he watch Frozen 2?
Everyone's
Oh my
seen
gosh,
Frozen
don't even
2.
get me started on how bad of a movie that is.
Oh, man. Okay, so
Olaf made the movie.
one thing, I'll give everybody 30
Samantha?
seconds to just look around. Josiah, maybe you switch some camera angles so everybody can see what's going on. And then the first person to say what I'm talking about gets the gift card. And someone asked if we could just all sing a
not in-
song.
it's not in
so
my
why
hair.
don't we just all start singing whatever song comes to our head first
We
on the count
are
of 3.
Let it go. Let it go. I don't know.
We are family.
Stanley, none for you.
All my
brothers, sisters, and me.
Christy Russ.
Christy
found
Russ got it?
The puppet.
Christy Russ?
Anybody else see the puppet? Where is? The whole time it has been right there. Oh man, this guy. Also, I don't know. Again, you heard me question Guy because I'm not really sure what.
Definitely a woman.
Is it the flowers? Does that give it away?
And the pearl
And
necklace.
the earrings and the done
I don't know.
eyelashes.
What is- let me
Do
get
you
this camera.
do
Can
you even know what a woman looks
What
like?
is, hell yeah. All right, we'll just do this camera angle. Oh, if I was a ventriloquist, this would be a great time to pull
Oh,
it.
hey, Jeff, how's it going? Oh, blah, blah, blah.
My name is Gabe. No, I did a beat.
So way to go, Christy. That's our biggest Amazon gift card of the night, right?
How much?
$5,000.
I want to give
And
Christy
you get
20.
a card. You get a card. There's nobody here. That's great. Yeah.
I'm going to say 20.
$20?
Yeah, $20. $20 Amazon cash.
With the winning $20 gift card?
Get that dub.
Insane. So, congrats, Christy. Let's just, I don't know, how do we sign this thing off? Do we just all wave at the camera
Just
at
cut
once?
it off.
Yeah,
Just cut off
wave,
the feed.
I don't
wave,
want to
wave.
just
We
cut it
are
out. But
famous.
we so
No,
appreciate
okay.
every single one of you who have tuned in. Maybe you're watching this afterwards and you're tuning in now and you weren't able to win the gift cards. But still, you were watching. We hope that we said anything of value tonight. Again, we are not experts by any means, but we just want to be able to serve you and answer some of your questions. And I know we didn't get to every single question, but we're still a part of your lives. So keep asking those questions. We're going to do more of these just as months and years go on. Hopefully we can get back together in person with all of us together sooner rather than later. But we would just want you to know that we had so much fun tonight. It was fun just to gather together.
So
And,
much fun.
We hope that you have a great rest of your night. So we are pumped. United Night 2.0 online. Is that?
I think it's Unite Online 2.0. Signing off.
6 through 12.
See you guys.
Thanks, guys.
Peace.
Goodbye.
Bye. Miss you. Hope you find your dad. Bye.